in one pocket, I always keep my Constitution and Declaration of Independence. A lot of you carry these, and you should. Everybody should keep a pocket-sized Constitution with them. Okay? And so now you should keep its sister with you. And this is the condensed version of my Supreme Court victory. And it's called the Victory for State Sovereignty, because state sovereignty is the only answer left. It is the only solution remaining. If you want to keep this movement peaceful and effective, then state sovereignty is our only solution. And if we stand and know and understand the principle of the 10th Amendment and the principle of state sovereignty, then we're going to win this. And that's why I'm here today, because you have somebody running for your sheriff who knows and understands these principles. And if you write Russell Bolton in and he gets on the ballot in the general, he can win this thing. And he knows that the important thing about being sheriff is not keeping your job, but keeping your oath. So, now there's something else that's kind of important, and that's our food supply. And I get my food storage from a company called freezedryguy.com. Did you catch that? Freeze, as in freeze sucker. Dry, as in not wet. Guy, as in not a gal. Okay? freezedryguy.com. And I've got food from him for over a decade. And he has something very special that very few food storage companies have. He has meat. Not tofu. Meat. Pork, chicken, and beef. And every time I was at a gun show and he was cooking that up, that's where I had lunch. I had lunch at his booth. He got tired of me hanging out there, so I kept ordering his food, and he didn't get so tired because I was really ordering his food a lot. So I have a lot of that food, and let me tell you why I do that. Because whoever controls your food supply controls you. And that's why you better have some independence when it comes to your own food sources. Okay? Now, next one. I still have a few of my first book from my cold, dead fingers, Why America Needs Guns. This was actually born in 1994 when I first filed lawsuit against the Clinton administration. It's probably the most powerful book on the Second Amendment that you'll ever read. And the reason I wrote this book was because this was my motivation in filing the 10th Amendment challenge against the federal government to protect our Second Amendment rights. I did not sue on the Second Amendment, and I'll let you know why in just a little bit. But this book's over on the table. My subsequent book called The Proper Role of Law Enforcement, which everybody should read this so you know what law enforcement's supposed to be doing. This is about the oath of office. And my personal conversion story from being a by-the-numbers jerk cop to becoming a constitutional guard. And a very powerful book, only 30 pages. And then, thanks. And then The County Sheriff, America's Last Hope. And this book I wrote a year and a half ago. Came out in February of '09. And it was written because I was depressed. And I was depressed for the same reason that you were. Because we just watched a fiasco and a train wreck known as the McCain Obama election. And my wife told me to quit watching it. And I said, I can't help it. I'm watching my country die here. And I can't help but watch. And she says, well, I want you to quit it because it's just starting to bother you too much. And I don't like how you're acting. And I realized that there's still hope. And I said, well, Mack, if you know that there's hope, tell other people. And so the title of the book came to my mind, and I wrote it, had it done in about 3 months, and here it is now. And the project that I named No Sheriff Left Behind, you'll see that on my website, sheriffmack.com. No Sheriff Left Behind. We have now sent this book to every sheriff in the United States. Every one of them. Okay? And this book connects the dots as to why your sheriff is the head law enforcement officer in your county and why he has an obligation to protect you from other government, from tyranny, from the crimes committed in Washington, D.C. that destroy your life and destroy your family. And that book is most powerful. And so don't forget, though, the Supreme Court decision. This is only $2. Hopefully you'll get a bunch of these and pass them around, because every state and county official need to see this, because it tells them in no uncertain terms that the United States Supreme Court, pursuant to a decision brought to them from a small town sheriff in Arizona, said that the federal government cannot tell us what to do. And that the state, quote, state legislatures are not subject to federal direction. Don't you wish your state knew that? Well, let them know. Give everybody one. Should a county commissioner read that? Absolutely. How about the county attorney? Absolutely. They're going to go, we never heard about this case. You have now. Okay? So now, let's answer the question. Why would a small town sheriff take it upon himself to sue the Clinton administration? Why would a small town sheriff sue his own government? What would cause a sheriff to be so crazy as to think he could take on the Goliath, behemoth federal government, especially the Clinton administration? Do you guys think I ran for office and said, gosh, I hope I can sue Clinton sometime? You know? Do you think I was excited when I walked in my house and said, honey, I'm going to sue the Clinton administration. Aren't you glad? Weren't you just hoping for this day? She didn't call me crazy, but I'm sure she wanted to. And I'm going to tell you how that happened too in just a minute. Why would I do that? Well, the story goes back to when I was a rookie cop. And I took an oath of office that I didn't care about. I took an oath just like everybody else in politics and in government. You take the oath because it's a little ceremony where some newspaper guy comes with a camera and takes a shot of you swearing to uphold and defend the Constitution, and after that, you don't care one bit about it. You swear an oath to get a paycheck, to get a job. And so I admit I did the same thing. And then through my police career, I had something happen to me that was really quite startling. And I'm writing a ticket. And again, this story is in this book. I'm writing a ticket to a lady, and I'm at a four-way stop, and the intersection, this is in Provo, Utah, and the intersection is a four-way stop. And I'm parked just south of the intersection facing north, and I'm the only living thing that's within 300 feet of that intersection. And I'm in a marked unit, and this lady runs a stop sign right in front of me. What was she thinking? I'm right there. Well, I looked inside her car, and it looked like maybe some of you ladies that have had 2 or 3 or 4 or 12 kids can relate to this, because it looked like the Tasmanian devil going on inside her car. Feet, hands, and legs, and heads, and shoes, and stuff, just going everywhere like a whirly-derby. And this poor lady, I saw in just an instant why she ran the stop sign. She got so preoccupied with trying to settle her kids down that she lost track of where she was on the road, ran through the stop sign, looks over at me, throws her arms up in the air as if to say, what else could go wrong today? And she pulls over immediately. I don't even have to turn on my red and blue lights. She just pulls over. I get up to the car, and she has her license and registration hanging out the window just like this. It was obvious she wasn't having a good day, and I certainly wasn't making it any better.